Deep Work by Cal Newport. Introduction: The Age of Distraction and the Power of Focus. Hello and welcome. In a world that's constantly buzzing, a world filled with notifications, pings, and endless streams of information, have you ever felt like your ability to truly concentrate is slipping away? Like you're busy, but not necessarily productive? What if I told you there's a powerful, almost forgotten skill that can help you achieve more, create work that truly matters, and find profound satisfaction in your professional life? In this audiobook review, we're diving into the heart of Deep Work, Rules for Focused Success in a Distracted World, by Cal Newport. We'll explore why the ability to focus without distraction is becoming both incredibly valuable and increasingly rare. And more importantly, we'll uncover practical strategies to cultivate this superpower in your own life, transforming how you work and ultimately how you live. Get ready to discover how to reclaim your attention and unlock your full potential. Now, who is Cal Newport, the mind behind this transformative concept? Newport isn't just another productivity guru. He's an associate professor of computer science at Georgetown University, holding a PhD from MIT's prestigious Theory of Computation group. He's the author of several acclaimed books, including So Good They Can't Ignore You. And he doesn't just preach deep work. He lives it, maintaining high academic output and writing best-selling books, all while typically finishing his workday by 5 or 6 p.m. His work on deep work has resonated deeply, becoming a cornerstone for anyone looking to thrive in our increasingly complex and distracted 21st century economy. He argues that the ability to perform deep work is like a modern-day superpower. Interesting, isn't it? Part 1. Understanding Deep Work, the core idea. Section 1. What is deep work and why is it your secret weapon? So, what exactly is this deep work Cal Newport talks about? He defines it as professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that push your cognitive capabilities to their limit. These efforts create new value, improve your skill, and are hard to replicate. Think of a master craftsman like Carl Jung, who built a stone tower retreat to write and think, ultimately revolutionizing psychiatry. Or think of Bill Gates, who famously took think weeks to isolate himself and ponder Microsoft's future. That's deep work. Now, here's the kicker. In contrast, there's shallow work. These are the non-cognitively demanding, logistical-style tasks, often performed while distracted. These efforts tend to not create much new value in the world and are easy to replicate. Think constant email checking, endless meetings, and social media browse. Sound familiar? Newport presents a compelling argument he calls the deep work hypothesis. The ability to perform deep work is becoming increasingly rare at exactly the same time it is becoming increasingly valuable in our economy. As a consequence, the few who cultivate this skill and then make it the core of their working life will thrive. But why is it so valuable? In our rapidly changing information economy, Newport identifies two core abilities crucial for thriving. First, the ability to quickly master hard things. And second, the ability to produce at an elite level, in terms of both quality and speed. Guess what underpins both? You got it. Deep work. Learning complex new skills, like computer programming or mastering a new marketing analytic, requires intense, uninterrupted concentration. Newport explains that this intense focus helps build myelin around the relevant neurons in your brain, making these circuits fire faster and more effectively, essentially cementing the skill. Trying to learn in a state of distraction? It's like trying to build a strong cable with frayed wires. And what about producing at an elite level? Newport shares the story of Adam Grant, the youngest tenured professor at Wharton, who produces an incredible amount of high-quality research. His secret? Batching his work into long, uninterrupted stretches, maximizing his intensity of focus. This is because of something called attention residue. When you switch from one task to another, a residue of your attention remains stuck on the previous task, diminishing your performance on the new one. Deep work, by its very nature, minimizes this residue, allowing you to perform at your peak. But wait, you might ask, what about successful people like Jack Dorsey, who seem to thrive on a highly distracted schedule? Newport addresses this, noting that high-level executives often function as decision engines, constantly processing inputs. Their role is different. For most of us, however, this model doesn't apply. Section 2. The scarcity of deep work. Why we've lost our focus. If deep work is so valuable, why is it becoming so rare? Newport points to several culprits. Think about the modern workplace. Open offices designed for serendipitous collaboration, but often leading to massive distraction. Or the rise of instant messaging and the expectation of immediate email responses. These trends actively decrease our ability to go deep. So why do businesses embrace these depth-destroying behaviors? First, there's the metric black hole. It's incredibly difficult to measure the direct impact of distraction or the precise value of deep work on the bottom line. Without clear metrics, detrimental habits can persist. Then comes the principle of least resistance. In a business setting, without clear feedback, we tend towards behaviors that are easiest in the moment. Constantly checking email or responding to messages quickly feels easier than deep-focused thinking and planning. It creates an illusion of productivity. Which leads to the next point: busyness as a proxy for productivity. In many knowledge work jobs, it's hard to clearly define what it means to be productive. So many resort to an industrial age indicator, doing lots of stuff in a visible manner. Being constantly on email, in meetings, or active on messaging platforms makes you seem busy and therefore, supposedly, productive. Marissa Mayer's ban on remote work at Yahoo, based on VPN login data, signaled a preference for visible busyness. Are you falling into this trap? And finally, there's the cult of the internet. We've developed a technopolic mindset where anything internet-related is often seen as inherently good and innovative, regardless of its actual impact on productivity or well-being. Rejecting these tools can even make you seem out of touch. Here's the crucial point. This scarcity of deep work, Newport argues, creates a massive opportunity for those who are willing to cultivate it. If you can resist these trends and prioritize depth, you'll thrive. Section 3. The meaning in deep work, beyond productivity. But deep work isn't just about economic success. Newport makes a compelling case that it's also deeply meaningful. This is where it really connects with personal growth. He starts with a neurological argument, drawing on the work of Winifred Gallagher, who found that our worldview is constructed by what we pay attention to. If you spend your days flitting between shallow concerns, your mind constructs a world of stress and triviality. But dedicating significant time to deep endeavors? That cultivates a sense of importance and richness in your life. As Gallagher puts it, who you are, what you think, feel, and do, what you love, is the sum of what you focus on. Then there's the psychological argument, rooted in Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's concept of flow. Flow is that state where you're completely immersed in a challenging activity, and it's when humans are often at their best and happiest. Deep work is perfectly suited to generate flow. So, a life built around deep work is a path to deep satisfaction. Finally, Newport offers a philosophical argument, drawing on thinkers like Hubert Dreyfus and Sean Dorrance Kelly. They argue that craftsmanship, the act of honing a skill and applying it with care, is a source of meaning in a secular age. Think of Rick Furrer, the blacksmith, meticulously forging a Viking sword, finding profound satisfaction in his demanding craft. This sense of sacredness isn't limited to manual trades. Whether you're a writer, a programmer, or a marketer, your work can be a craft. And cultivating this craftsmanship through deep work can transform your job from a draining obligation into something truly fulfilling. You don't need a rarefied job. You need a rarefied approach to your work. What if you could find that depth and meaning in your daily tasks? Part 2. The rules for cultivating deep work. Okay, so we understand why deep work is important. But how do we actually do it in a world designed to distract us? That's what Cal Newport's rules are all about. And here's a fascinating insight before we dive in. Your willpower is finite. You can't just decide to focus. You need routines and rituals to make it easier. Ready to build those? Section 4, Rule number 1, work deeply, structuring your focus. This rule is about making deep work a regular part of your life. First, decide on your depth philosophy. Newport outlines 4. The monastic philosophy, radically minimizing or eliminating shallow obligations. Think of Donald Knuth, the computer scientist who famously gave up email in 1990 to focus on his life's work. Or writer Neil Stephenson, who is purposefully hard to reach to protect his long, uninterrupted time chunks for novel writing. This is for those whose success comes from one exceptionally well-done thing: the bimodal philosophy. Dividing your time into clearly defined deep stretches and leaving the rest open. Carl Jung did this, retreating to his tower for deep work, but engaging in a busy clinical practice in Zurich. Adam Grant also uses this, stacking teaching into one semester to free up the other for deep research. This often requires at least a full day for the deep work blocks. The rhythmic philosophy, transforming deep work into a regular habit. The easiest way to consistently start. Think Jerry Seinfeld's "Don't Break the Chain" method for writing jokes daily. Or Brian Chappell, a doctoral candidate who wakes up at 4:45 a.m. every day to work on his dissertation before his full-time job and family life kick in. The journalistic philosophy, fitting deep work wherever you can into your schedule, on a moment's notice. Walter Isaacson wrote much of his 800-page book, The Wise Men, in short bursts of intense focus whenever he found free time, even during a busy journalism career. This isn't for novices, as it requires the ability to switch modes quickly. Which philosophy resonates most with your life and work style? Next, ritualize. Great creative minds, from Robert Caro to Charles Darwin, had strict routines. Rituals minimize the friction of transitioning into depth. Your ritual should specify where you'll work and for how long, how you'll work once you start, e.g., no internet, word count goals, and how you'll support your work, e.g., coffee, food, light exercise. Then, Newport suggests to make grand gestures. J.K. Rowling famously checked into a luxury hotel suite to finish the final Harry Potter book, finding the change of environment and investment spurred her focus. Bill Gates's "Think Weeks" are another example. Such gestures increase the perceived importance of the task, injecting motivation. Even a temporary but significant change can work wonders. Also, don't, always, work alone. While open offices are often detrimental, collaborative deep work or the whiteboard effect can be powerful for certain problems. Think of researchers at Bell Labs or MIT. The key is a hub-and-spoke model. Expose yourself to ideas in collaborative hubs, then retreat to a private spoke to work deeply, sometimes with a collaborator. And here's a game changer. Execute like a business using the 4 disciplines of execution, 4DX. Focus on the wildly important. Identify a small number of ambitious outcomes for your deep work. Spend more time working deeply is too vague. A specific goal is motivating. Act on the lead measures. Instead of focusing on lag measures, like papers published, focus on lead measures, the new behaviors that drive success. For deep work, the key lead measure is time spent in a state of deep work. Keep a compelling scoreboard. Make your lead measure visible. Newport used a cardstock tally of his deep work hours. This creates accountability and motivation. Create a cadence of accountability. Regularly review your scoreboard and commitments. A weekly review works well for individuals. Newport himself used this to more than double his academic paper output in a year. What wildly important goal could you achieve with this focus? Finally, for this rule, be lazy. This might sound counterintuitive, but Newport, citing essayist Tim Kreider, argues that regular, substantial freedom from professional concerns is indispensable for deep work. At the end of the workday, shut down completely. No after-dinner email checks, no mental replays of work issues. Why? Downtime aids. Insights. Your unconscious mind needs time to process complex problems. Downtime recharges. Energy, attention restoration. Theory suggests that activities like walking in nature, or even just relaxing without directed focus, replenish your ability to concentrate. The work replaced. Isn't that important? You have a limited capacity for deep work each day, around 1 to 4 hours for most. Evening work is usually low-value, shallow work. Implement a shutdown ritual to signal to your mind that it's safe to disengage. This helps combat the Zeigarnik effect, the tendency for incomplete tasks to dominate your attention. A plan for completion can free cognitive resources. Section 5. Rule number 2. Embrace boredom. Training your concentration muscle. The ability to concentrate intensely is a skill that must be trained. If you spend your life fleeing the slightest hint of boredom, you'll struggle with deep work. Stanford professor Clifford Nass found that chronic multitaskers are suckers for irrelevancy, and their brains are rewired in a way that makes focus impossible. Alarming, right? So, how do we train this mental muscle? Don't take breaks from distraction. Instead, take breaks from focus. This means scheduling your internet use and other distractions in advance and avoiding it completely outside these blocks. Keep a notepad by your computer and write down the next time you're allowed online. This isn't about reducing total distraction time, but about resisting the urge to switch at the slightest boredom, thereby strengthening your attention muscles. This works even if your job requires lots of internet use. Just schedule more frequent, shorter offline blocks. And crucially, stick to your offline blocks. This strategy is about building resistance. Next, work like Teddy Roosevelt. Roosevelt, despite a myriad of interests at Harvard, managed good grades by working with blistering intensity in short, focused bursts. Try this. Identify a deep task, estimate the normal time, then give yourself a drastically shorter, hard deadline. Use a countdown timer. This is like interval training for your brain, forcing intense concentration. Then meditate productively. Use physically occupied but mentally free time, walking, jogging, showering, to focus on a single, well-defined professional problem. When your mind wanders, gently bring it back. This strengthens distraction resistance and concentration. To do this effectively, be wary of distractions and looping, revisiting what you already know instead of pushing deeper, and structure your thinking by reviewing relevant variables and defining the next step question. And a really powerful one: memorize a deck of cards. Mental athletes like Daniel Kielov, who went from struggling student to honors graduate while training his memory, demonstrate that memory training significantly improves attentional control. Learning to memorize a shuffled deck using techniques like the memory palace, associating cards with vivid images in familiar locations, forces intense, structured focus. This isn't just a party trick, it's serious concentration training. Section 6. Rule number 3. Quit social media or tame the beast. Network tools, especially social media, are engineered to be addictive and can fragment your attention, severely hampering deep work. Many people operate under the any benefit approach. If a tool offers any possible benefit, it's justified. This ignores the significant downsides. Newport advocates the craftsman approach to tool selection. Identify core factors for success and happiness in your life, then adopt a tool only if its positive impacts on these factors substantially outweigh the negative impacts. Think like Forrest Pritchard, the farmer who meticulously weighed the pros and cons of owning a hay baler, considering not just immediate costs, but long-term soil health and opportunity costs. How to apply this? Apply the law of the vital few, the 80-20 rule, to your internet habits. Identify your main high-level goals, personal and professional. For each goal, list the 2 to 3 most important activities that help you achieve it. Then, for each network tool you use, assess if it has a substantially positive impact on these key activities that outweighs the negatives. If not, consider abandoning it. Famous authors like Malcolm Gladwell and Michael Lewis are highly successful without using Twitter, focusing instead on activities that directly support their core goal of writing great books. They intuitively understand that their most important activities yield the bulk of their results. Ready for a challenge? Quit social media for 30 days. Don't announce it. Just stop using services like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. After 30 days, ask yourself, 1. Would the last 30 days have been notably better if I had used this service? 2. Did people care that I wasn't using it? If the answer to both is no, quit permanently. This helps overcome the fear of missing out and the illusion that your online presence is indispensable. Finally, don't use the internet to entertain yourself. Arnold Bennett, writing in 1910, urged people to use their leisure time for self-improvement, like reading great literature, rather than letting it devolve into a blur of passive consumption. Today, addictive entertainment websites thrive in the vacuum of unstructured free time. The solution? Put more thought into your leisure. Plan activities, hobbies, reading, exercise, quality time with loved ones, to fill your free time with intention. This not only preserves your ability to concentrate, but also leads to a more fulfilling life. Section 7. Rule number 4. Drain the shallows, minimizing low-value work. The software company 37 Signals, now Basecamp, found they could achieve similar output in a 4-day work week because the change disproportionately eliminated shallow work, not deep work. This rule is about ruthlessly identifying and culling shallowness from your schedule. First, schedule every minute of your day. At the start of each day, divide your workday into blocks and assign activities to them, even lunch and breaks. If your schedule gets disrupted, and it will, take a moment to revise it for the time remaining. The goal isn't rigid adherence, but thoughtfulness about how you're spending your time. This structure actually fosters creativity by ensuring you allocate time for deep thinking, rather than defaulting to shallows. Next, quantify the depth of every activity. Ask yourself, how long would it take, in months, to train a smart recent college graduate with no specialized training in my field to complete this task? If it takes many months, it's likely deep. If it's quick to learn, it's shallow. This helps you objectively assess where your time is going. Then, a courageous step. Ask your boss for a shallow work budget. What percentage of your time should be spent on shallow work? For most non-entry-level knowledge workers, 30 to 50% might be a reasonable range. Agreeing on this budget provides cover to say no to excessive shallow tasks and focus on what truly matters. It forces a conversation about value. Consider adopting fixed schedule productivity. Finish your work by 5:30, or your chosen time. Newport himself practices this, rarely working past 5:30 p.m., yet maintaining high productivity. Professor Radhika Nagpal at Harvard also achieved tenure and significant success while limiting her work week to 50 hours by ruthlessly capping shallow endeavors. This forces you into a scarcity mindset with your time, making you more efficient and more aggressive in cutting out shallows. Finally, become hard to reach, especially with email. Make people who send you email. Do more work. Use sender filters. Newport's own website doesn't have a general email. Instead, it directs specific requests to specific channels and sets expectations that he may not reply to general queries. This significantly reduces inbox clutter and resets sender expectations. Do more work when you send or reply to emails. Use a process-centric approach. Before replying to an ambiguous request, Identify the actual project and the most efficient process to conclude it with minimal back and forth. Your reply should then outline this process. This saves time and mental energy in the long run. Don't respond. Adopt the professorial ambivalence to email. Don't reply if the email is ambiguous, doesn't interest you, or if nothing good would happen if you did, and nothing bad if you didn't. As Tim Ferriss said, develop the habit of letting small bad things happen. If you don't, you'll never find time for the life-changing big things. Conclusion: embracing the deep life. Cal Newport's deep work isn't just a collection of productivity hacks. It's a pragmatic philosophy for achieving meaningful results in an increasingly distracted world. He reminds us that Bill Gates's intense focus during the creation of BASIC for the Altair was a prodigious feat of concentration that helped launch a billion-dollar industry. Deep work isn't about rejecting technology. It's about recognizing that the ability to concentrate is a skill that gets valuable things done. Throughout this review, we've journeyed through the why and the how of deep work. We've seen its immense value in a demanding economy, its unfortunate rarity, and its profound connection to a meaningful life. We've explored powerful rules and practical strategies to help you cultivate this skill, from structuring your days and rituals, to training your focus like a muscle, to taming the digital deluge, and to strategically draining the shallows that sap your time and energy. The path to a deep life requires effort, discipline, and a willingness to go against the grain of our hyper-connected culture. It means choosing hard focus over easy distraction. It means valuing quality and craftsmanship in your endeavors. Now, as we wrap up, I have a few questions for you, a little mental checklist to see how these ideas have landed. Are you ready? What's one shallow activity you engage in regularly that you could reduce or eliminate to make more space for depth? Thinking about the 4 philosophies of deep work, monastic, bimodal, rhythmic, or journalistic, which one feels most achievable for you to experiment with first? Newport argues that busyness is often a proxy for productivity. How might you start to measure your value by the quality of your focused output rather than the quantity of your visible activity? And finally, what's the very first small step you can take tomorrow to begin cultivating your own deep work habit? Remember, the journey to a deep life is transformative. It's about producing your best work, finding meaning in your craft, and ultimately, as Winifred Gallagher put it, living the focused life, because it's the best kind there is. Don't just let these ideas sit. Start your journey of deep work. Start creating things that truly matter.